The silent sentinel. The bond. In the bustling heart of Chicago, the United Center stood as a monument to athletic achievement and civic pride. For Officer Emily Parker, it represented something else entirely. 5 years of vigilant service, countless security sweeps, and the quiet satisfaction of keeping 23,000 lives safe on any given night. Her partner in this endless vigil was Ryder, a German shepherd with eyes that seemed to reflect the very essence of loyalty. Their partnership had begun from mutual brokenness. Emily recovering from a shooting that had claimed her previous partner's life, and Ryder rehabilitating after his former handler was discovered planting evidence. The department had labeled Ryder problematic, too intense in his work, too unwilling to abandon a scent even when ordered. They didn't understand what Emily saw immediately, not defiance, but uncommon integrity. In a world of compromise, Ryder refused to bend. In the 5 years since they'd been paired, that stubborn dedication had uncovered 3 explosive devices at major events, exposed a human trafficking ring operating through the arena's service corridors, and earned them the department's highest honors. Tonight, as the Chicago Bulls prepared to face the Detroit Pistons in a crucial playoff game, Emily conducted their pre-game sweep with practiced efficiency. Ryder moved with fluid grace beside her, his dark coat gleaming under the arena lights, his posture alert yet relaxed. At 7 years old, he was in his prime, experienced enough to work with instinctive precision, but still possessing the physical prowess that made him a formidable partner. Emily watched him trace familiar patterns through the locker rooms, concession areas, and crowd entry points. There was something soothing about observing Ryder work, his methodical thoroughness a counterpoint to the chaotic energy building as fans began to stream into the arena. Tonight would be routine, another game, another crowd, another evening of watchful protection. Or so she thought. The warning. The first sign of trouble came 90 minutes before tip-off. The referees had just completed their pre-game equipment check when Ryder's behavior changed. Emily noticed it immediately. The subtle stiffening of his posture, the slight raise of his ears, the focused intensity of his gaze as the official game balls were wheeled toward the court. When Ryder began barking, not his usual alert, but something more insistent, Emily felt the weight of every eye in the vicinity turned toward them. In 5 years, Ryder had never once broken protocol during a regular security detail. His disciplined silence was legendary among the security team, making his sudden vocalization all the more alarming. "Control your dog, Parker," snapped Leonard Weber, the league's equipment manager, his wire-rimmed glasses magnifying the annoyance in his eyes. "We've got VIPs arriving and network producers already complaining about timing." Emily felt her cheeks warm with embarrassment as she attempted to quiet Ryder, but the German shepherd remained fixated on the rack of basketballs, his barking growing more urgent. Security Director Brian Mitchell approached, his expression a careful mask of professional concern overlaying obvious irritation. "Parker, relocate to Section 118. Now." Mitchell's tone left no room for discussion. "We can't have this disruption tonight." As Emily led Ryder away, she noticed him continually glancing back at the basketballs being prepared for the game. His body language spoke volumes to her trained eye. This wasn't random behavior. Something about those balls had triggered Ryder's carefully honed instincts. The same instincts that had located a pressure plate explosive device hidden in a bathroom trash can during last year's championship series. The same instincts that had earned them commendations from the mayor himself after preventing what could have been a devastating attack. Ducking into a quiet service corridor, Emily knelt beside Ryder, running her hands through his thick fur, checking for any sign of distress. Finding none, she stared into his intelligent eyes. "What are you trying to tell me, boy?" she whispered. The discovery. Rather than reporting to Section 118 as ordered, Emily made a calculated decision. 5 years of partnership had taught her one unassailable truth. Ryder's instincts transcended training. If he was alerting on those basketballs, there was a reason. Using her security clearance, Emily accessed the arena's control room systems through her phone, pulling up information on tonight's game. The betting lines had shifted dramatically in the past 12 hours. Unusual proposition bets attracting massive money on specific statistical anomalies. 3-point shooting percentages. Free throw disparities between halves. Player performance swings. All patterns that could be influenced by subtle alterations to equipment. Her search revealed something else. 3 previous playoff games with similar betting patterns, all with equipment manager Weber overseeing ball preparation, and all with Mitchell handling security. Coincidence seemed increasingly unlikely. Emily's radio crackled to life. Mitchell's voice, tight with barely concealed anger. "Parker, confirm your position in Section 118. She switched off the radio, a decision that would normally be unconscionable in her professional life. Ryder looked up at her, as if understanding the weight of the moment. They were crossing a line together, defying direct orders based on nothing more than a dog's intuition and her own growing suspicions. Through a service window, Emily observed the court where players had begun their warm-up routines. Her trained eye noticed subtle irregularities in how the ball moved, slightly unpredictable bounces, minor trajectory shifts on certain shots, nothing obvious enough to draw attention unless you were specifically looking for it, or unless you possessed Ryder's extraordinary sensory perception. A text illuminated her phone from an old academy friend now working with the FBI's Sports Integrity Unit. Data confirms unusual betting patterns. $3.7 million on props in last 2 hours. All from masked IP addresses. What have you found? Emily's response was concise. Ryder alerted on the game balls. Something's wrong with them. Weber and Mitchell involved. Need backup discreetly. The conspiracy. Emily and Ryder moved silently through the arena's maintenance corridors, leveraging her intimate knowledge of the building's architecture. 5 years of security detail had taught her every blind spot in the camera coverage, every service area that remained unmanned during games. The German Shepherd's alert posture changed as they approached the equipment storage section, his powerful body coiled with tension. Emily unhooked his tactical vest, their silent signal that they were moving into covert operation mode. In tight spaces with potential threats, Ryder's mobility mattered more than protection. Voices echoed from around a corner. Emily pressed herself against the wall, Ryder automatically taking position beside her. 2 men in arena maintenance uniforms passed by an intersecting corridor, carrying equipment bags and speaking in hushed tones. Weber says we make the switch at halftime. Thompson wants it done during the band performance. And Mitchell's handled security? Parker's been reassigned. No one will check the balls. Emily committed their faces to memory. Neither was part of the regular arena crew. Following at a safe distance, she tracked them to a maintenance room marked electrical only. Her security card was rejected, but Ryder's increasing agitation told her they needed to get inside. A call to a sympathetic maintenance worker who owed her a favor from a previous incident granted them access. Inside, hidden behind electrical panels, they discovered what Ryder had somehow sensed. A set of carefully modified basketballs, identical in appearance to the official game balls, but subtly different in composition. Embedded within each was a miniature electronic component, invisible to casual inspection, but detectable to Ryder's extraordinary senses. A quick exchange of photos and information with her FBI contact confirmed her worst fears. This wasn't the first such operation. The same sophisticated scheme had played out in 3 previous playoff games, all showing the same statistical anomalies, all generating millions in winning bets from untraceable accounts. As halftime approached, Emily realized she needed to act quickly. The conspiracy was larger than she'd imagined, involving not just arena staff, but her own supervisor. Mitchell hadn't merely reassigned her. He'd deliberately removed the one security team that could detect their operation. The betrayal. The halftime buzzer echoed through the corridors as Emily positioned herself near the service entrance to the court. The Bulls led by 4 points, but the game statistics showed bizarre inconsistencies, exactly matching the proposition bet patterns. Through the service window, she watched as the halftime entertainment began, a college marching band taking the court in a choreographed performance that would provide perfect cover for the ball switch. Movement at the equipment tunnel caught her attention. Weber approached, flanked by the 2 fake maintenance workers she'd observed earlier. Mitchell appeared from the opposite direction, scanning the area with practiced casualness before giving Weber a subtle nod. As Emily prepared to intervene, a hand clamped firmly on her shoulder. She spun to find herself face-to-face with Vincent Thompson, former NBA star turned league executive, his tailored suit and championship ring signaling his authority. "Officer Parker." Thompson's voice was smooth, practiced in media interviews and corporate boardrooms. Your supervisor reported you'd been reassigned. Yet here you are, with your dog, in a restricted area during a critical game operation. Ryder's growl was low, continuous, a warning Emily had never heard him direct at anyone except immediate threats. Thompson's eyes flickered with momentary uncertainty before his practiced smile returned. Perhaps we should discuss your career options privately, he continued. Your talents are wasted in arena security. Someone with your adaptability could be valuable in league operations. The implication was clear. This wasn't just about betting on a basketball game. The corruption ran deeper, reached higher than she'd imagined. Thompson wasn't just aware of the scheme, he was directing it. Emily's mind raced through scenarios, calculating risks and options. Confronting Thompson directly would accomplish nothing without evidence. The ball switch was about to happen, and with it, the opportunity to catch them in the act. Of course, sir, she replied, matching his professional tone. I was actually looking for Director Mitchell to report some unusual behavior from Section 307. Thompson's smile tightened imperceptibly. I'll escort you to the security office. Your dog should remain here with my associate. He gestured to a large man who had materialized from the shadows. Emily felt Ryder press against her leg, his signal that someone was approaching from behind. They were being boxed in, options dwindling by the second. The halftime clock showed 3 minutes remaining. The band's performance was reaching its finale, the moment for the ball swap approaching. Making a split-second decision, Emily activated the emergency alert on her phone, the signal to her FBI contact that intervention was needed immediately. The revelation. While Thompson was momentarily distracted by a radio call, Emily and Ryder slipped away through a service door, moving rapidly through maintenance corridors toward the arena's broadcast center. Her instincts told her that whatever was happening extended beyond manipulated basketballs and betting schemes. Thompson's involvement suggested something more sophisticated, more valuable than mere gambling profits. The arena's broadcast center hummed with activity, technicians monitoring feeds from dozens of cameras capturing every angle of the game and crowd. Emily's security clearance granted them access, but she knew their presence would be questioned quickly. They had minutes at most. Ryder moved with purpose toward a bank of equipment that looked identical to the other broadcast hardware. To untrained eyes, nothing would appear unusual, but the German Shepherd's behavior told a different story. He sat directly in front of a nondescript black server unit, his alert posture unmistakable to Emily. Before she could investigate further, the broadcast center door opened. Emily expected security or Thompson's men, but instead found herself facing a distinguished older man she recognized immediately from security briefings and news reports. Richard Keller, former counterintelligence specialist turned sports technology pioneer, his company responsible for the digital infrastructure used in major arenas nationwide. Impressive, Keller remarked, his voice carrying the calm authority of someone accustomed to control. Most people look for the modified balls, not the system behind them. He closed the door, isolating them from the busy corridor. Your dog is extraordinary. Detecting transmission frequencies is beyond standard training. Ryder's continuous low growl confirmed what Emily already sensed. Keller was the mastermind. Thompson, Weber, Mitchell, all were merely components in a larger operation. The basketballs are just misdirection, aren't they? Emily kept her voice steady, buying time as her phone silently recorded the conversation. Cover for something bigger. Keller smiled with genuine appreciation. Very good, Officer Parker. The betting manipulation is merely self-financing noise. The real operation is far more valuable. He gestured at the broadcast equipment surrounding them. Do you know how much untraceable data can move through an NBA broadcast signal during a playoff game, watched by millions? Banking transactions, corporate secrets, classified information, all hidden in the normal digital traffic generated by a major sporting event. The pieces clicked into place. The modified basketballs weren't just for affecting shots. They contained transmission components, part of a larger data network operating beneath the visible surface of the game. You're using America's most popular sports broadcasts as a covert communication channel, Emily said, the audacity of the scheme becoming clear. Hiding in plain sight. We've moved billions in secrets through these arenas, Keller confirmed, a hint of pride in his voice, and would have continued indefinitely if not for your exceptional partner. The door opened again, revealing Thompson and Mitchell, both armed and visibly tense. Behind them stood Weber and several security personnel whose expressions made clear their allegiance. "The second half is starting," Thompson said tersely. "We need to complete the operation." Keller's expression hardened. "Last chance, Officer Parker. Join us. Your talent for seeing beyond the obvious would be highly compensated, or become another unfortunate workplace accident during a high-stress event." Emily glanced at Ryder, saw the absolute trust in his eyes, and made her choice. The countermove. The tension in the broadcast center crystallized into a moment of perfect clarity for Emily. 5 years of partnership with Ryder had prepared her for this, trusting instinct over authority, integrity over safety. She'd been testing the emergency signal button on her phone since Keller began speaking, pressing it in a pattern that would convey specific information to her FBI contact. "You've overlooked something critical, Mr. Keller," Emily said calmly. "Ryder doesn't just detect frequencies. He's been trained to distinguish between them. And while you've been explaining your operation, he's been mapping every component in your network." Keller's confident expression faltered slightly. "An interesting bluff, officer." "Not a bluff. A fact. And another fact. I've spent 5 years memorizing every system in this arena, including the emergency protocols that no one ever expects to use." In one fluid movement, Emily reached for the broadcast override panel, a security feature installed after September 11th to allow authorities to interrupt arena communications in case of emergency. Keller lunged forward, but Ryder was faster, intercepting him with practiced precision, taking him down with controlled force as Emily's fingers flew across the control panel. Thompson raised his weapon but hesitated, aware that firing in the broadcast center risked damaging the very equipment their operation depended on. That moment of hesitation was all the time Emily needed. The arena speakers screeched with feedback as Emily activated the emergency broadcast system, simultaneously triggering the arena's security protocols. On every screen in the broadcast center, the normal game feeds were replaced by the FBI Cybercrime Division's secure channel, the one she'd been connected to through her emergency signal. "What have you done?" Keller demanded, struggling against Ryder's firm hold. "Redirected your entire data stream," Emily replied, the satisfaction of 5 years training culminating in this moment. "Everything you're transmitting, all your carefully hidden data, it's going straight to the FBI's cybercrime servers. Your own system is providing the evidence for your prosecution." The doors burst open as FBI agents swarmed into the broadcast center. On the court below, more agents were surrounding the bench areas, securing the modified basketballs as evidence. The game had stopped, players and officials looking on in confusion as federal agents took control of the arena. Mitchell made a desperate attempt to flee but found his path blocked by Emily's academy friend, now revealed as FBI Special Agent Marcus Reed. "Emily Parker," Reed acknowledged with professional respect. "Your signal came through perfectly. Keller's entire network is exposed. We're already tracking data streams to recipients worldwide." Keller, now handcuffed and still under Ryder's watchful gaze, regarded Emily with a mixture of anger and reluctant respect. "The dog. It was always the dog. We tested our equipment against every security measure in existence. Never considered that a German Shepherd would detect our transmission frequencies." Emily knelt beside Ryder, running her hand through his thick fur. "That's because you see him as just a tool. He's a partner. And partners trust each other when everything else falls apart." The aftermath. 3 months later, Emily and Ryder stood at center court of the United Center during a special pre-game ceremony. The arena was packed to capacity, but unlike their usual security detail positioning, tonight they were the focus of attention. The NBA commissioner himself approached, flanked by FBI Director Hammond and Chicago's police superintendent. The investigation following Keller's arrest had revealed the full scope of his operation, a sophisticated data smuggling network that had operated undetected for years, moving sensitive information through professional sports broadcasts across multiple leagues. The modified basketballs had been merely one component in an elaborate system that exploited the massive digital footprint of major sporting events. Thompson, Weber, Mitchell, and 27 others had been indicted on charges ranging from sports fraud to espionage. Keller himself faced multiple federal charges that would likely keep him imprisoned for the remainder of his life. More significantly, the exposure of his methods had led to unprecedented changes in digital security protocols for broadcast events nationwide. Officer Emily Parker and Ryder, the commissioner announced to the crowd, demonstrated the vigilance, integrity, and partnership that represent the very best of public service. Their actions not only preserved the integrity of basketball, but also protected national security interests. The FBI director stepped forward, presenting Emily with a special commendation. "The Bureau would be honored to have you join our sports integrity unit," he added quietly as cameras flashed around them. "Your instincts and analytical skills are exactly what we need." Emily smiled, but shook her head slightly. Her place was here, working arena security with Ryder. The partnership they'd built over 5 years was more valuable than any promotion. Together, they'd continue their quiet vigilance, protecting crowds who would never know most of the threats they averted. As they moved to leave the spotlight, Emily noticed Ryder's tail wagging slightly at the thunderous applause, a rare display of pride from her normally stoic partner. She knelt beside him, straightening his ceremonial collar as photographers captured the moment. "Good boy," she whispered, the simple praise meaning more between them than all the commendations and medals. The best partner anyone could ask for. In the years that followed, their reputation grew into something approaching legend among security professionals. Before every major game at the United Center, the referees would bring the game balls to Emily and Ryder for inspection. The German Shepherd would give each a thorough examination, and Emily would nod her approval. It became an honored tradition, a reminder that sometimes the most sophisticated threats are detected not by technology, but by the ancient bond between human and canine, a partnership built on mutual trust, unwavering integrity, and the courage to follow instincts when they diverge from orders. In a world of increasingly complex security challenges, Ryder's legacy would inspire a new generation of K-9 units specifically trained to detect digital and electronic threats. But none would match the intuitive connection he shared with Emily Parker, a silent language of trust that had revealed a conspiracy no human could have detected alone. The unspoken bond, a reflection on loyalty and trust. In today's fractured world, where technology dominates our security systems and cynicism pervades our institutions, the story of Emily and Ryder reminds us of something profoundly human and canine. Every day across America, K-9 officers and their partners patrol our stadiums, airports, and public spaces, forming bonds that transcend mere working relationships. They stand as silent sentinels, alert to dangers we can't perceive, guided by instincts we've forgotten to trust. When Emily chose to believe Ryder's alerts over her superior's orders, she embodied a truth many of us have abandoned, that sometimes loyalty to principles must override loyalty to protocol. The German Shepherd's unwavering dedication mirrors countless real-life K-9 heroes who've saved lives by detecting threats invisible to sophisticated equipment. In Boston's marathon bombing, in countless airport drug interventions, in school security sweeps, these partnerships form our most reliable defense against those who would exploit our vulnerabilities. What moves us most about Emily and Ryder isn't just their professional success, but how their story echoes the ancient covenant between humans and dogs, a promise that transcends language, that when everything else fails, they will stand together, trusting each other's instincts when facing an uncertain world. In their partnership, we recognize our own deepest longing for connection, courage, and unconditional trust. Thank you for watching this heartfelt story. We hope it touched your heart and left you with something meaningful to reflect on. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more inspiring stories like this. Your support means the world to us. See you in the next video.